Welcome to Best Friends in Franchising. I'm Morgan Knoller.
And I'm Catherine Allen.
If you're interested in franchising a new opportunity or diversifying your portfolio, you've come to the right place. We talk money, mindset, and everything in between. Let's dive in. All right. Today we're talking with Ashley Sasher, who made the leap from corporate marketing executive to Bloomin Blinds franchise owner in August of 2025. Ashley spent 8 years as head of marketing for an early education company before buying her franchise, and now she's building a business from scratch alongside her husband. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much, ladies. So good to be here.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you here. And for those of our listeners out there who are not familiar with Bloomin Blinds, will you walk us through, please, what it is and what does a typical project look like?
Absolutely. So, Bloomin Blinds is family owned and locally operated. And we specialize in all the beautiful custom window treatments. So, everything from blind shades, shutters, drapery, cornices, roller shades, woven shades. We have motorized options as well. And so you can say, "Hey, Alexa, raise my blinds." It's a pretty cool experience. We also do exterior patio shades and awnings. So a plethora of all the things to beautify your home.
I love that. And I have to ask, what is a cornice? What is a cornice?
So it's a top treatment.
Oh.
It's kind of like lipstick on your windows. It kind of seals the deal.
I love that. And Morgan's an interior designer, so I know she knows what a cornice is, but me, I did not.
There's so much to know. So, Ashley, so you're in your first year. It's only January 2026. You opened in 25. What was it like before this? What were you doing in your corporate role, and what was your position previous to Bloomin Blinds?
Sure. So, gosh, 20 plus years in corporate marketing, everything from the fast paced world of casual dining, restaurant marketing, to prepaid gift card space representing the world's largest brands and some of the world's largest retailers across the US. And then more recently, I was head of marketing for an early childhood education company. We were an ed tech SaaS platform serving teachers birth through 5. And so, yeah, 20 years, reached a certain point in my career and my life where I'm like, is this all really worth it? My latest role was amazing. I initially started with a husband and wife team, a small company, $3.5 million company. And, in 8 years, we experienced 2 acquisitions, both private equity. The first acquisition was pretty smooth sailing, a similar industry. Parent company kind of left us alone to do what we do best. But the second private equity acquisition was incredibly tumultuous. Watched a lot of people I loved, unfortunately, get laid off. And I was one of few left standing there toward the end. And so I just thought, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more to life. There's got to be more to, putting in the hours, the blood, the sweat, the tears, but maybe doing it on my own time and really investing in something for myself and my family. So I started the journey of working with a broker, Sam Schweitzer of Frampath Consulting, who is amazing, and really just exploring, I would say probably 10 or 15 different companies before landing on Bloomin Blinds. And it just checked all the boxes for me. I had a lot of criteria. I probably spoke to 50 different owners in different companies, learned a lot, the good, the bad, the ugly. And really Bloomin for my husband and I just felt right. It felt like a good fit. And if we were going to take this leap of faith, then it would be the brand that we were going to partner with in order to do that. So here we are 5-ish months later, And it's been quite the adventure.
Thank you for walking us through that journey. And I know when we first connected and we're getting to know each other in preparation for this podcast, you and I really connected on so many things. I came from marketing, the corporate culture hamster wheel, acquisitions,
Yes.
private equity, rifts of your loved ones, that I had worked with for 13 years, and how hard that can really be. And you know what what were, I mean, I think you kind of walked us through the signs, but for someone who might be in that similar, because I think you talked about leap of faith, betting on yourself, which is what I did get riffed. I did get laid off. So you made the choice. I did not, but it all worked out and in my favor. Um, so the choice was made for me, but you made that choice. It's a scary choice. Like, I didn't know. Talk to us about that choice. Like, how, for people out there who may be feeling the same things you and I felt, what advice do you have for them?
Well, I think I saw the writing on the wall. So I probably was the driver of my own destiny, right? It was only a matter of time. I mean, when you watch 20, 30 people over several years get laid off, and you are privy to board meetings and leadership executive meetings, and you just know where the company's headed, right? You
Yeah,
choose. Do you stay and wait, or do you take the bull by the horns and make that decision, right? And so I think for me, you get to this point in your career where you say, is this all that life has to offer, right? You've put so much into growing and learning and climbing that corporate ladder, so to speak. And as a female, a lot of, gosh, hardship and heartache. And, being in a good old boy network sometimes is very difficult, right? And so, you ask yourself, is there more to life, right? Can I do this for another 20 years? Do I see myself, having to jump ship yet again, having to go through the, interview process again, all the things, right? Or do I want to just take this moment now? Kind of, you're at a crossroads, and do I want to explore another outlet of growth, opportunity, happiness, investing in myself? Something, if I'm going to work as hard as I do and did, you're
yeah,
talking 12, 14-hour days, right? I would rather do that for myself. And I would rather know the fruits of my own labor instead of, gee, every year, am I going to make that 3 to 5% pay increase raise, merit increase raise, right? Or am I going to make my bonus, because I've worked so hard, but the company's still not doing great? Like,
right.
it
That was
just
my
didn't
favorite. That was
feel
my favorite part. Oh yeah, the company didn't hit its goals. You get 50%
right.
of your bonus. And I'm like, but I hit my goals.
But
What?
I hit my goals. I worked my butt off. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
yeah, so we just, my husband and I had some heart to hearts, and I think it was just a aha moment where you only get one life, right? If we don't do it now, we're never going to do it. We're not getting any
never a good
younger.
time. There's never a good time.
Yeah, it's like when they ask you, is now a good time to get married? Is now a good time to have kids? Is now a good time to start a business? We're in a down economy. Like, should you really be starting a business right now? So many factors, right? But, you got to try. Sometimes you got to have that faith in yourself, faith that God's going to lead you down the right path, and faith in your family, and faith in your kids and friends. And, you just make that leap. And honestly, we have been having so much fun.
Well,
I could not look back.
you call yourself something. Is like the pink lady, or what was that you were
I'm
telling
the
us?
shady lady.
The shady lady, that's it.
The shady lady.
So when I
Oh,
get up to introduce myself at all these networking events now, right, I say I'm the shady lady, and I'm throwing shade in residents and businesses, and people just, they think it's hilarious. My kids are very embarrassed, but They think it's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I love it. What's the oh gosh, in the BVI's, there's not Yost Van Dyke. Is it Yost Van Dyke? And it's the painkiller, and the slogan is a something place for shady people.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about? No? Yeah,
Oh
maybe.
yeah. Listen, I had to get on Amazon for Halloween and, figure out my get up for again all these events, and I'm not too slim but still shady.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Yes.
there you
I
go.
know what it is. It's a sunny place for shady people, I think is maybe what it was.
That's
But
good too.
I want to change my license plate to Shady Lady too. So,
Yes,
make sure
you
it's
should.
pink. It's a pink, whatever they call that license plate frame.
Mm-hmm.
well, on the back of my van, it's so cute. And a lot of my girlfriends were kind of like scratching their head. What does this mean? They were so confused. But I have a caution sign and it says, "Caution, blind person driving."
Oh my!
That's a great play on words right there.
It's
I
fabulous. I
we
love
don't
it.
have fun slogans, Morgan. We need some for soccer stars. This
Right?
is
We gotta come up with something
Ashley.
now.
You're a natural marketer, my friend.
Yes.
Listen,
That's what
22
you
years,
Yeah. Oh, how fun. Okay, so we have all female franchise owners here on the call, but I feel like, having worked for myself, I did interior design, event planning. I was always going to do this. This was just like in the cards. I watched my family build a company, and that was really interesting to watch as a child. So this was going to happen for me. But a lot of the clients we talk to, they're really hesitating because it's kind of like, why couldn't I just go start my own business? I'm getting out of the corporate world, but I just want to be my own boss. I'm going to start it from scratch. Why am I paying these royalties? Why would I give someone 60 grand, maybe more, as my franchise fee to buy something when I could take that 60 grand and just go start my own business? So for me, I'm not from marketing like Ashley and Catherine on this call. I need corporate. I need the marketing daily. I need help. I need support. I need ideas on how to reach people in my community. It just doesn't come naturally to me. The operations and the back office does. So franchising made sense for me. But can you speak a little bit to that, Ashley? Like, what advice would you give someone that wants to do their own thing, and you're saying, franchising is the best option, and why do you think that is?
Yeah. So I would say do your research. Make this a mission like it's a job in itself, because while it sounds glamorous and it sounds amazing to get into the entrepreneurial spirit and world and, start your own company or get into a franchise, there's a lot that goes into it. And you have to really do your due diligence, digging deep, answering all the, addressing all the hard questions, asking all the hard questions, keeping good notes, talking to as many owners as possible, really digging through the FDD, all the financials, the P&Ls, asking about products, warranties, customer issues, all the things, right? Because there's so much that goes into it. And I will say for us, the reason we chose a franchise versus just starting a company on our own is really and truly simply that there was nothing we were like super jazzed about, right? It's not like I have a workroom and I'm, really fabulous at making drapes, right? Or that we have a certain niche that we specialize in. But, you know, I think for us, the franchise concept, the business in the box, quote unquote, that everybody calls it, right? It just made sense for us because there were so many foundational operational components that had already been vetted for us, right? All of the software packages, all of the vendor relationships, which, we couldn't have gotten on our own, right? Out of the box. Like it takes
Right.
years to establish these relationships. And then all of the price negotiations with each of those relationships too. On top of, all of the technical components, all of your, vetted marketing agencies and bookkeepers and CRM platforms. There's just so much that goes into it that you would have to source on your own. And, it's great if you have all of those connections, but it's even better if it's been vetted for you and you can just hit the ground running.
Yeah, absolutely. It's built there to help and support you. And no way would you even be scaling probably as big as
Yeah.
you've scaled so far. It's incredible. Your growth has been so fast because you've had this entire support system and all these different operations in place. And it was a play by book that you just follow. And now here you are killing it and thriving. And you are just months in. You're not even a year in yet.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's like a family. Our training pod, our fellow bloomers, our Z's, right? That we all went through training together. We literally text each other multiple times a day.
Oh, that's
We exchange the good, the bad, the ugly. We're cheering each other on. It's just such a support network. And without them, honestly, this would be very scary. So I love having that family aspect. And, Bloomin' Blinds in itself is a family business, and it started by, the Stewart brothers and, their mother, the founder of Bloomin' Blinds. And so, family centered, family oriented, and then the owner's very much a family as well, here to support everybody. So, yeah, I mean, without that, it would be very intimidating and you would feel a little like you're out on a limb by yourself.
Absolutely.
a few things to that, and I completely agree, Ashley. One, it's sounding like your core values as a person really line up with the core values of Bloomin' Blinds. And I just really believe that a part of the franchising process is finding a franchisor where you have those shared core values. And when it can align like that, that's when it's magic. And the culture, when you're going through the process, you're meeting members of the executive team, you're doing validation calls with other franchise owners, so you get a feeling and a vibe for what it like. There's an energy there that you feel. So much a part of why I chose Soccer Stars, Morgan as well. We love the leadership team. One of our core values at Soccer Stars is humility, and that just for me is such an important one. But I wanted to note that. And then also, entrepreneurship can be so lonely. It can. And that's why I love franchising, because of everything you just shared, with the accountability, the pods, to the texting, just having that support. I mean, Morgan and I are so lucky to have each other, and we started at the same time. And at the beginning, I think Morgan and I were talking all the time, like every day, multiple times a day. And with our other people that we're training, you really do, you truly form such a special bond in your
You
training
do.
group. I saw it at my old company. I would do the marketing training portion, and the groups that came through, they'd all, at our conferences, they'd do dinner the night before, and they'd sit together at the conference. So there is a bond that forms there, which I think is really special and fun. So I love that. My question for you next is, you're building this all from scratch, obviously with a playbook, with systems and operations, but you're finding installers, building a team. What's been the most challenging part, would you say, of the first few months?
Oh my gosh. Well, I felt like I juggled many hats, many balls in the air in my corporate life. But, when you're out on your own, so to speak, time management, I will say, is the biggest challenge. I was just telling my husband, I'm like, how do we do all of this? You've got meetings with your bookkeeper, you've got meetings with your marketing agency, you've got meetings with your software company, and then in between, you're trying to juggle 10 networking events a week and generating leads and following up with your customers and generating quotes and going out on consults. I mean, it's a lot. Time management, I would say right now is the most challenging. And as we ramp up, I can see where some owners start to feel that crunch. And then maybe that question of, do we hire, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's probably our next hurdle is how much can we both possibly manage and still provide the same quality in every arena that we want to, without, faulting that quality of service. And so, yeah, I think that that's probably our next kind of hurdle. So it's really time management for us.
And
That's
what I mean, I completely agree. And what a I mean, and what a great problem to have. That means you're growing really fast. And the beauty about owning your own business, right, is you get to sit there and you say, okay, what do I really love to do of everything I've been doing? What
Yeah.
don't I love doing? Okay, let's make a job description that lists out the role and the responsibilities, and then that's the person you're going to hire. And
Yes.
then you're just going to hone in on that revenue generating activity, customer satisfaction, all
Right.
the stuff you're so good at, right? And that is what makes it so much fun. So much fun.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure. And it's just knowing when to pivot, I think, and when to make that call, right? And early on, like my husband and I, we had to figure out our lanes. And we kind of like had these loose established lanes. Like he knew I would take marketing, right? And he's got the sales background, but I'm kind of leading with sales during our consultations, and he's, kind of taken the more operational, logistical component. And so it's been interesting as we kind of ebb and flow and where the needs are and where our strengths lay, right? How all that kind of plays out.
yeah, that's my husband and I run our company, and it's been very interesting. I can tell you right now where we started day one is not where we are now. It's
Yeah.
mostly me. It's mostly me. I'm definitely day to day, but when I get my husband like front of house and kind of like with me in the sales, we land jobs so fast. It's incredible. If it's just me, I probably will get it, but it's not as easy of a sale for whatever reason. Like the two of us are like yin and yang and it just works. As far as everything else, I think it's just best I just run it for now. I just think it's a little easier, but I am trying to race to replace myself as well. Catherine has a manager in place that's amazing. I am looking for somebody, but I've had some great employees step up to help, and now we are growing finally. Last year we kind of were still growing, but not as much as I wanted to. So I'm in the same boat. I need to hire to grow again. So I'm looking to do that. But speaking of the team and thinking about interior design and my background and coming into homes, and it was always about like the quality expectations, especially with window treatments. How are you finding these installers? What qualifications are you looking for? Has it been difficult to hire people, or are you finding that you've got your group and you know who to go to for different treatments or installs, and what does that look like?
Well, Morgan, with you having an interior design background, you understand all of the nuances that go into, design and color schemes and people's preferred preferences and taste. And there's so many different manufacturers out there. And when you represent pretty much the plethora of the manufacturers in the United States, there's a lot of SKUs, there's a lot of fabrics, there's a lot of textures, there's a lot of solutions, all have different measuring nuances, installation nuances, variances, deviations. I mean, gosh, sky's the limit, right? So for us, with any role, you're going to expect to have some type of learning curve, but I will tell you, it was quite the learning curve and continues to be. Every day we learn something new. There's an aha moment. There is a lot of product guide reviews, spec guides, and just learning all the details. There's a ton of details in this business. And the details are what is going to drive a successful installation, right? And so we have had to become best friends with all of our vendors. And so immediately we have continuing education constantly scheduled, whether it's a Zoom or in person or workshops that we actually travel to. We take advantage of all of those opportunities. I have all of my vendors on speed dial and text threads, right? And I'm texting them sometimes at 10 o'clock at night when we're doing quotes. Um, and, really it's just getting in there and getting the experience. And then you see it and you say, oh, that's a good note for next time, right? So I think it's, really just digging in, learning as much as you can, asking as many questions as you can, working with fellow interior designers, right? Home builders, remodelers, joining all of the groups. We joined all of the chambers, all of the interior design networking groups, the Greater Atlanta Home Builders Association. So we're just right now a sponge, and we're trying to learn and grow as quick as possible because I hate the imposter syndrome, right? I don't like that. And I like to be the expert. I like to be the most knowledgeable in the room. And there's a bit of that learning curve at the beginning, right? Especially in a new industry. And so for my husband and I, it's really being those product expert, just deliverers for our customers so that they can make the best informed decisions.
That's excellent. It's bringing me back to a lot of installs and a lot of old homes, and no window is the same. They could
No
be
window is the same. They're either wonderfully, with depth and you've got lots of room to work with, or they're shallow, or the trim is a little old and cracking, and maybe perhaps the windows need to be replaced. And so, yeah, there's lots of things we deal with. As a matter of fact, this morning we went to a consult, beautiful remodeled home, and they have quartz encased all around their window.
Oh,
Okay.
quartz, you said. Like this.
Quartz.
I have never seen that before.
What does that
So, to drill into quartz or
Oh,
porcelain or any type of material of that nature always has a risk
Yeah.
of cracking, right? So, there's been some interesting scenarios that we've run into.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
so if you were to drill in and it cracked, I know we're getting a little detailed here, but who are you liable to replace that? How does that work?
Yeah, so we offer a limited lifetime warranty, Bloomin Blinds, and also our manufacturers across the U.S. do as well on the product itself. And we also warranty the installation. This is just one of those upfront conversations that we have to have with the customer, right?
Yeah.
There is a risk of drilling into any type of product of that nature. And, we just have to have that open conversation so that, no one's surprised.
It's all about good communication. I feel like
Absolutely.
if you have strong communication, we're all human, we're all trying our
Right.
best, and things happen. And so you just got to control what you can control. So,
Yeah. And I go back to the education component. The more they know, the pros, the cons, right?
mhm,
Then they're equipped to be able to make a decision. And
right.
maybe they didn't think that, that was a viable option, and perhaps they shift to another alternative. So,
Yeah.
So, as someone who has a marketing background, and you have a very strong marketing background, obviously, which is such a huge advantage, I'm curious, what are driving the most customers your way right now? Which marketing channels are you finding to be most lucrative?
yeah, I would say, marketing is never a silver bullet, right? You've got
Yeah,
to test
no,
and measure and test again and measure and test again and measure. But, I started to see Google paid search kind of take a downturn a year or two ago, just in my corporate world.
did you
And
attribute that to ChatGPT?
yes, yes, I
Yeah,
think they're a little behind on the times. And I think they're figuring out how to catch up. And I'll be interested to see how ads start to play a role in AI search. There's already been some touting of this coming on the horizon. with ChatGPT. And so that will be interesting to see how that performs and how that replaces paid search.
Good.
But for us, honestly, where we're seeing our most leads is through Facebook groups. Um, Facebook groups, not next door, but Facebook groups, local Facebook groups, community moms groups, neighborhood groups. They are your drivers of referral. You've got, all walks of life looking for remodelers, looking for, gutter cleaning specialists, looking for window treatment specialists, right? And getting in there and being part of those conversations and tagging yourself or following that feed, or even better, having others within that group because they know you, they trust you, they believe in your work, tagging you, has been probably where half of our leads are coming from right now. So yeah, I would say Facebook groups.
I am so happy you shared that because that for me is the same thing. Absolutely the same thing. And I love that youth soccer and blinds are totally separate industries. Kind of the same demographic in a way, I guess, like moms,
Yep.
age range, and not all moms, not, but yeah, same thing for me. Soccer stars, Facebook mom groups. I've, developed relationships with the people who
Yep.
promote us on Facebook. I've given them thank you gifts. I found them at classes. They become my ambassadors. I've, I've, yeah. I mean, it's same thing. So I love that
It's
you
honestly saved my business. Without it, I don't have a lot of parks and rec I can go to. So it's like, where do you go? I have to use these Facebook groups. I would
Yes.
be dead in the water in some of these communities without it. So I rely very heavily on those groups.
Yeah, for sure. And then I would say, just your good old school networking, right? I mean, you got to get out there.
Yeah.
If they see you, if they like you, if they love you, if they want to promote you, then you have to be seen, right? You have to get to know people and build relationships. It's really going back to that foundational, like grassroots, shaking hands and kissing babies, right? And so BNI networking, chamber networking, the business builder luncheons, all these things, right? You start to plant these seeds, and then a couple of months go by and you get a text or you get an email or you get a call, and they say that they met you at such and such event and they just loved your vibe. They loved, your company. They have a friend of a friend that needs window treatments. And then, before you know it, sky's the limit, right? So I would say the other half of our leads are coming from those types of relationships that we started 5, 6 months ago that are now, really starting to take impact, right? So, the traditional networking route is still very viable.
Well, and that kind of leads us into you were somewhere last night because you have been doing so well at all the things you just mentioned. You've won this award. Can you please tell the listeners what is this award that you just won? And can we talk about that on the podcast really quick?
Yes, I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. So, our local news, Forsyth County News, puts together a best of every year, and it celebrates all the best of business in Forsyth County. And even being only 5 months in, we've made such an impact in our local community that we were nominated, and then through voting, won Best of Forsyth for window treatments and window blinds and shades. And so last night was the big gala. We were able to get all fancy, my husband and I, and have a nice date night and have a little cocktail and a nice dinner and claim our award. So we are very thrilled, very excited, very humbled, and very grateful.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
That's amazing. And you're only 5 months in. I mean, I cannot wait to see the trajectory of your business and momentum and growth and where you're going to be at this time next year. So, kind of transitioning, so you and your husband run this business together. He handles, right, a lot of the physical install side. You're handling the marketing and sales, as we've been talking about. And I guess we kind of did touch on this already with kind of finding your lanes, but how is it working, and any lessons learned about working with your spouse that you would share with our listeners? Let's put it through the lens of our listeners. And because a lot of franchise owners go into business with their husbands or wives, it's very, very, very common. My husband is my silent partner. We're 50-50, but he's very silent. I run the ship. Morgan has, you know, it's not
Yep.
what, 80
Yes.
20, forget
Yeah,
80
I
20.
think 80-20. He loves to weigh in though. So there's a
And we're about 3 years in. You're starting out. So where you stand right now at 5 months in? Any advice?
Yeah, it's funny when we talk to our friends, or even when we go in customers' homes, and they're like, "Wait, you're together? That's your husband? You work together every day?" And they look at us like, "How's that going for you guys? So you're married and you work together every day, and you're like, you're still okay?" I don't know if I could work with my spouse, right? Like that, it's always a conversational piece. And so we just have to laugh because my husband and I have known each other, gosh, since we were 5. I mean, literally 5. And we have that sappy love story where, we grew up together, same small town, cutest couple in the middle school, which was back in the day, junior high yearbook, right? I'm going to age myself a little bit. And, got back together senior year of college, and it was like no time had passed. So, 3 kids later and all the things in between. I mean, he's stuck with me. I'm stuck with him. Right. And we actually, through our corporate lives, felt like 2 ships sailing in the night. I would work upstairs in the kitchen. He was in his office. We would maybe meet for lunch on occasion in the kitchen, but let's be honest, we didn't see each other during the day. And then you like have your adult time, your 1 hour, if you get that every night. And it's like, gosh, where does time go? We'll be married 20 years this year, and life just goes by way too fast. And so if I get more time with my husband during the day and we can have fun at what we're doing and actually build something that is, meaningful, profitable, and something our kids can get into later in life, then we've won, right? So right now we are having so much fun, but ask me a year from now if that's the same case.
Yeah, I think there's something just so rewarding about it. I think whenever we get a big contract or a big sale, or we just see the coaches really enjoying themselves, and the parents and the kids and whatever we're doing. And for you, it's probably like the big reveal for your clients, like just bringing that joy to them in their home and creating something so special for them. If as long as it's rewarding and it's bringing you that joy, then you're always going to enjoy your job. So, that being said, one more question. Like, if someone is thinking about Bloomin Blinds, kind of what I'm hearing is they don't really have to have the interior design background that I had. Do you find that some of these franchisees are new to this industry completely, or do they have interior design background?
No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, one of the most surprising aspects about a lot of the Bloomin Blinds ownership is that it's mostly male driven. You would think that this would be more female driven space with having all the pretty fabrics and shades, and I mean it just seems like it lends itself to more of that feminine touch. And our van is pink and our brand is pink. And so even though my husband loves wearing pink and he looks good in it, a lot of men are like, this is a little too feminine for me, right? But yeah, I would say a lot of the owners come from a variety of backgrounds. Definitely not interior design. I would say that is the vast minority. But, just a proven business model. And I think, checking all the boxes of, the foundational components for success, having that entrepreneurial spirit, having that business acumen, having that belief in yourself, right? I think is what drives a lot of the owners in the Bloomin Blinds system. But I think too, it's really just that, family culture oriented aspect of what Bloomin represents. And it's very appealing. Not all companies are created equally, right? And I found that out through the discovery process. So I think you just have to really find out, what fits your morals, values, ethics, personality, background, support, knowledge, right? The best. And my husband and I, we just knew we wanted to be in home services. Having been in the restaurant world before, I knew I did not want to deal with food service. We did not want to deal with anything too niche or trendy, right? We wanted something that had, opportunity for growth, good margins, good, foundational components. And so we've always been attracted to beautiful things in a home. We have kind of champagne taste on a beer budget, right? And so we thought, this is a great entry level way to get into home services without the heat of summer, being outside, building decks or cleaning gutters or pressure washing windows. And we can be in clients' homes and beautifying their space. And we have so much pride in seeing the end result and getting that amazing 5-star Google review, right? And seeing the customer's happiness and seeing their letters and the wonderful remarks that they have to say. It's a great experience. And so for us, it kind of checked all the boxes, and it was the right decision.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. We're going to do a quick lightning round to wrap us up. And you ready?
Yes.
All right. We're going to go quick. Best decision you made in your first 90 days?
Marketing.
Morgan, you asked the next
All right,
one.
biggest mistake or lesson learned?
Oh my gosh. Definitely measuring accuracy and reading the product guides. That's a key.
That's a good one.
Okay. It's a good one. One thing Bloomin Blinds corporate does really well to support franchise owners.
Yeah, again, I think it's that family atmosphere, right? I think it's knowing that you're supported 24/7, and really having a lot of folks that are cheering you on. And just, knowing that they're there for your success and they want to see you succeed.
Love it.
Amazing. Well, they sound like a wonderful franchisor to be a part of. We're so grateful to have you on our show today, Ashley. It's been such a pleasure. We're so excited for your success and continue success into the next year and beyond. For anyone listening, if you are interested in Bloomin Blinds or any other franchise concept, you can contact Morgan and myself at franchiseinsiders.com and find our names in the drop down menu. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us.
Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys all next week. Bye-bye. For those of you listening, if you have any questions or are interested in franchising, please go to thefranchiseinsiders.com. You can find more information about Morgan and my son. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.